Good morning, happy Friday. It's Tim Wild and we're going to be walking and talking today. It's week 30 and it's a very kind of muggy, warm, moist morning. I am a little bit on the sweaty side, so you just have to bypass that one. And just got a few things I want to talk about this morning whilst gently meandering through one of my favourite pieces of woodland. And I was actually up here on Monday recording my Monday meditation, and I had to do it about 3 times. The first time kind of got into the meditation, and a couple with 2 horrified spaniels came out of the woods, and I think the spaniel was just generally like, "What are you doing sat there at that table?" Bark, 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 bark. And then, bless her, the owner of the horrified spaniel came up and started chatting to me. It's like, "Ooh, are you doing something for social media?" I was like, "Yeah, I was actually." But welcome, we'll have a nice chat sort of thing. And so that was generally the energy of it. And so after a couple of attempts, I managed to get it done. So I think mobile is easier at this time of day, just simply because you can get the information across walking and receiving. It's funny actually, when I first started doing this back in 2013, 2014, I was still running a gardening business, and the best information that I would ever receive was whilst I was mowing lawns. So I'd be there I remember the day that I met the dragons for the first time. It was probably around August, September 2014, and got a very, very strong presence, like communicating with me. There was no other way to describe it. The communication was very strong, and "We are the dragon forces and we are at your service." And I was like, hang on a second, who is this being or beings contacting me? Are they of the light? Do I wish to continue this conversation? But they were incredibly persistent. And then it turns out that the communication correlated with Diana Cooper speaking about the Hawaiian portal, the Lemurian dragon portal, opening, and billions of dragons coming in to connect with Earth and the ascension process. And that was it. From that day onwards, we were working together in a beautiful harmony. More and more dragons came forwards, more communications, lots of different types. The more earthy elemental dragons, the galactic dragons, the cosmic dragons, the ones that work on the interdimensional levels. It was quite incredible. But the communication, the first point of communication, caught me by surprise, because it was just so unusual to get such a strong presence communicating in a powerful way. And I remember exactly where I was. I was mowing a lawn in a place called Witchhampton in Dorset. And so, moral of the story, if you're feeling a bit kind of stuck for connection sometimes, if you are wanting to receive or get answers, many of us are seeking answers at the moment, go out and walk in nature. Doesn't matter how you do it, doesn't matter where you do it, as long as you're connecting and your surroundings are relatively quiet, as quiet as they can be. And we've had, and I was commenting on this in the really powerful workshop I did with Paul de Carey on the 25th, the day out of time, just how off the charts July has been. I mean, we're getting to the end of July now. My next update will be in August, and kind of August is what we regard officially as the Lion's Gate, the 8th of the 8th. But I've always identified the energy of the Lion's Gate beginning in, well, around now really, the end of July, as the sun moves into Leo, the galactic portal aligns with Earth, and the timeline that we exist on, the frequencies take an incredibly large jump, a huge jump in frequency, which is what we've experienced. And so instead of it going on as we move into August, we've already made the jump. We've already done this, which is a little bit different to the way that we usually receive and perceive it. So it's almost like we're working ahead of time. And the effects that this has had on all of us individually has been quite remarkable. I'd say for many of us it's been a little bit on the uncomfortable side, because I've noticed a lot of initiations coming into fruition. You know, you might be listening to this and be thinking, I have been through the absolute ringer, and all of a sudden, you know, we're on the other side of this frequency bandwidth. We've made the jump. All the things that we've been tested on have kind of come into a manageable format, and we're moving forwards again. And initiations are no longer what they used to be. I know I've spoken about this before. Initiations on the ascension pathway are, for want of a better words, the bread and butter of our learning process. So once we've actually grabbed that aspect of ourselves and put ourselves in a position where we are actively seeking a higher frequency, a higher vibration, to be part of the process that we are coexisting with on this planet, what we claim to be, we will be tested upon. Okay, so whatever persona, whatever aspect of your ascension pathway you are adopting, whatever you are presenting to the world and anchoring in, reclaiming that spiritual heritage, you will be tested upon. And it could be a combination, and the other interesting part is they don't just come in packages of one anymore. We get multi-packs. Okay, so an initiation can be a three-pronged situation that we could be going through. We could be being tested on holding our light in extreme situations. We could be tested also, in the same breath about speaking our truth. Or maybe we're being tested upon kind of the, what I call going dark, the isolation that can often occur when we claim this pathway. And the isolation, it's something that many of us are getting very used to now. Or have experienced many times, where the souls around us step back and our teams and our guides step back, and we're kind of left to make our own decisions, to take our own steps, to be the master of our own wisdom without being nurtured the whole time. That's a very, very important one. And while we're on this particular subject, I want to talk a little bit about entities and protection, because this is coming up again and again and again. Now, I've always said that the greatest protection is our vibration. So we step into the heart center, we use our frequency, we use our light, we become masters of our environment, masters of alchemy, and invariably we still need assistance from time to time. You're still working with Archangel Michael, you might still place your armour of God around you every morning, just simply because it's something that is comfortable to do. But if you have, as part of your initiation, made an agreement to experience an entity, an attachment, an implant, cords from other people, no amount of protection will prevent that from happening. It's part of an agreement. So in many ways, these constitute parts of the tests of how to retain your frequency under extreme circumstances. And if this has happened to you, if this has occurred, don't take it personally, because it's something that has been formulated to ensure that you are able to work with yourself, to work with others, to actively take the necessary steps to make sure that, you know, you restore your vibration back to its shiny original format. It's all part of the game. So seeing quite a lot of this cropping up, particularly at the moment when we're changing frequencies so drastically. When the light comes in on the level that it is at the moment, when it takes such an incredible jump, often the old places where kind of the dark stuff used to hide, it'll be rattled out of its hiding places and kind of has nowhere else to go. And I've spoken about this before, and I've actually kind of actively seen, particularly over the last 3 years, big layers of the astral deliberately collapsed, and everything that lived within it kind of set loose, a bit like going into the zoo and unlocking all the doors. Doesn't matter what was living in the cages, they're now out and kind of wandering around, wondering what to do, where to go. And so many of us will have been tasked with a clear-up operation. Just a bit of information, a bit of food for thought about what is occurring at the moment, seen and observed in patterns of things that we are experiencing. And so next phase, the Lion's Gate, massive implementation of a new timeline and energies on this planet, which we've all worked very hard for. You know, we've worked hard in correlation with our own guidance, our own steps, also what we are being almost instructed to do by the higher realms. And in many cases, you know, some of those things might have taken us by surprise. A little bit like this very woody bit of woodland that I'm going through at the moment. This has taken me by surprise. I'm going to have to duck and dive a little bit. So, in harmony with the energies that are coming in at the moment for the Lion's Gate, rely exclusively on the guidance that you are receiving. There might be some people doing a task or celebrating in a way that they see fit. It's going to be very important to follow your own guidance at this particular time, to do precisely what is right for you with this particular anchor point coming in. But to kind of backtrack a little bit on what I was saying earlier on, the main wave of the energy that we were receiving for Lionsgate has come through, which I think is quite incredible, really. It's July has been, it's not even over yet, we're still in July. July has been one of the most spectacularly challenging months that I can kind of recall or can kind of think of at this particular time. So it's been enjoyable, it's been memorable, but it's also been one of those situations where we're going to kind of look back on it and we will have learnt a lot. And learning's always good, isn't it? Learning from situations that we've been presented with. We've had incredible moons. We've had the Sirius portal that begins at the, and I've always, as I said before, this one always catches me unprepared, and I'm never prepared for the Sirius portal. It's everything else is exciting around it, and then you've got this incredible alignment that lasts for 4 days, and the energy of it is so intense. So onwards and upwards. The next time you hear from me will be very, very close to the actual the date itself, the 8th of the 8th. So choose and pick how you honour this date, this particular point, exclusively to your own guidance. This is what's coming through to me again and again. Do what you are guided to do. If you are guided to go somewhere and anchor this energy in, follow that guidance. It doesn't matter if no one else is doing it, okay? Or you might be guided to work as a team and really kind of bring this energy into fruition. Whatever's coming through for you the most, follow it. Follow your heart. Be the leader of your own pathway, master of your own pathway. It's a massive thing that's coming through for all of us at this particular time. And once we've got into August, once we're working with the energies of the Lionsgate, we will have a really good idea of the energy of what the rest of the year is going to present to us, how it's going to present it to us, what we're going to be dealing with, whether that's a comfortable structure or whether there are going to be more things that are a little bit out of our zone that we don't really kind of know the answers to. I think one of the biggest lessons this year has been the speed at which everything moves at, the speed with which things are presented, and the angle at which they actually arrive. I've been astounded by it. Every single month that has gone past so far has brought surprises, and it keeps you on your toes, doesn't it? Most definitely does. So just a little bit about the stuff that I've got coming up. I've got a workshop on the 1st of August with Lavisa Altorn, and that is going to be, we're working with a new higher facet of the violet flame that's coming in, and all that sort of thing always gets me very excited as soon as we've got these new energies. And of course this is part of the opening of the Lionsgate, the new higher pathway that we've been presented with. And then on the 8th of the 8th I'll be with David Essery, and we will be working with the energy of the 8-8 portal, or the actual Lionsgate itself. So come and join us, if you will. And on the 17th, which will be probably around the time that Lionsgate closes, I'm actually in Wales, near Glastonbury, with Lavisa Altorn, who's coming over from Sweden, doing a live one-day event hosted by the lovely Jackie White, and all the details of this will be at the end of the video. So that's all from me today. walkie-talkie. Sending you all so much love. Have a beautiful weekend, and I'll be back on Monday. Bye for now.